Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Patrizia Fracassi, and I'm the Senior Nutrition and Food Systems Officer in the Food and Nutrition Division at FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the first regional focused roundtable on the Year of Action 2021 and the forthcoming Nutrition for Growth Summit. This roundtable is co-hosted by the Scaling Up Nutrition Movement and the Global Nutrition Report, and is focused on bringing together a group of participants from the Asia-Pacific region. Before we start, I would like to remind those who are listening to please do indicate in the chat box where are you from, your name and organization. Please post your question and comments in the chat box. We have GNR and some colleagues monitoring this, and they can respond to questions in there or follow up afterwards. If you have a question for a particular participant, please state clearly to who it is for. Also, I would like to remind everyone that we are recording this meeting for those colleagues who have not been able to join us today. Without further ado, I would like to start by sharing with you some welcoming remarks from Dr. Emi Yanaoko, Deputy Director, Special Assistant for Global Health, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, that will be hosting the Nutrition for Growth Summit in Tokyo in December 2021.
Dear members of some countries, thank you very much for your very warm welcome to this regional roundtable on Nutrition for Growth 2021, organized by the Global Nutrition Report and the Scale Up Nutrition Movement. Due to the COVID-19, food insecurity has increased and malnutrition is on the rise. With 4 years left to achieve the World Health Assembly nutrition targets and 9 years to achieve the SDGs, the N4G summit in December 2021 is a key opportunity to renew political momentum, mobilize additional funding, and accelerate action for ending all forms of malnutrition. We also hope that the summit can help revitalize ownership of the nutrition agenda at the highest political level and be an occasion for renewed alignment between nutrition stakeholders at national level. Policy action for nutrition should be discussed with other related issues such as universal health coverage, food systems, and development assistance. This is an opportunity to bring nutrition stakeholders together to jointly review progress and bottlenecks on implementing national nutrition plans and identify areas where further action is needed, forming the basis of aligned commitments by governments and other stakeholders. Finally, we wish to acknowledge its strong leadership of several partners and stakeholders, including donors, UN agencies, business, civil society, and of course, the SUN movement and GNR to make commitments so that Nutrition for Growth be a truly successful and significant event. We wish you all a productive and engaging roundtable, and we look forward to welcoming you to the Tokyo N4G summit to make ambitious commitments to fight all forms of malnutrition. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now let me pass the floor to Ms. Gerda Verbo, Sun Movement Coordinator and United Nations Assistant Secretary General, for some inspiring remarks to all participants today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, but most of you are members of the Scaling Up Nutrition movement. It is exciting to meet you, all of you, right now as I speak, 174 participants. And this is great. It is not only great, it is necessary, because we all know how the COVID-19 pandemic is hitting in our own country, and how it is fading away progress in development, education, but also in nutrition that was made over maybe the last 5 or 10 years. Something has to be done, because a prosperous life starts with the right level of nutrition, especially during the first 1,000 days, to build the resilient body, but also to give the brains the opportunity to reach their full potential, in order to make sure that children are able to develop their cognitive abilities and talents, and are able to tackle solutions, or even prevent or tackle problems, or even prevent challenges. And people are more productive when they are well nourished. So let's never forget that good nutrition is not only about sustainable development number 2, it is impacting all sustainable development. For that reason, I'm extremely happy to be a co-host together with the Global Nutrition Report, because nutrition is also an issue that you can only deal with if you work together. And that is exactly what needs to happen. Countries and people in countries are thinking how to build back better, or how to build forward better. And many lessons can be learned from this crisis. Where do we have problems? Where do we see challenges? Which systems are broken? Let me give you one example. The food system was very often and very quickly broken in the crisis because of a lockdown. Now, creative people with a good sense of responsibility were able to sort this out and to realign or rebuild the food system, the food value chain, and to also provide the good nutrition services. However, we can see that food and nutrition security is not a given. And for that reason, it's very great to see that through communication and through learning from each other, people in different Scaling Up Nutrition movement member countries were able to bring food and nutrition services into the emergency room, into the crisis room of the government, to make sure that health and food and nutrition, and very often also social protection services, are combined when reaching the communities. That is an integrated approach, that is a systems approach. And this is what we need to learn. Nutrition cannot be improved in isolation. It needs to be connected to other issues, and it is crucial that there is political will and political understanding of the importance and political ownership. And for that reason, the founders of the Scaling Up Nutrition movement were very smart and very wise to make sure that the Scaling Up Nutrition movement is a country-owned and country-driven movement. I'm not here to talk only about the Scaling Up Nutrition movement, but I use this to make clear how important it is to use the Nutrition for Growth Summit to come forward with clear commitments from the country level, multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder commitments in order to improve nutrition in a multi-collaborative way, but also in a systemic way, making sure that there is the right legislation, making sure that it is implemented at the community level, making sure that the costing and investment from the domestic budget is made, and making sure that all the different stakeholders, donors, UN organizations who are member of the Scaling Up Nutrition movement, civil society and private sector are aligning behind and are supporting the implementation and the improvement of good nutrition. Now, I think N4G creates a nutrition for growth, creates a great opportunity, because the fields of commitments that are expected is, there are three big parts, and I want to mention them because they are so much interlinked. The first is about health. And of course, good nutrition is about health. And for that reason, nutrition and prevention of malnutrition needs to become part and parcel of the implementation of the universal health coverage in every country. Making sure that adolescent girls, pregnant women, but also lactating mothers and their families get the right support to support their children. That is one thing, but it's not a standalone, because at the same time, people need to be able to make the choice for healthy diets, to feed themselves, to nourish their brains, and to nourish their family in the right way. So diets are of crucial importance. And for this reason, it is crucial that every country looks at its food systems and is ready to reform its food system. In too many countries, food production and agriculture, but also fisheries and forestry is considered as commodity production. We should give it a next thought, because food and agriculture should be focused on nourishing people while at the same time taking good care of our planet, without exhausting soils, without exhausting natural resources, without exhausting all kinds of things that our generations and next generations need to have in order to have a decent life on our planet as well. So the combination of health with food systems is a very natural and a very important one when it comes to combining. The third issue is resilience, because in the 62 member countries of the Scaling Up Nutrition movement, we have about 40 or 50% of countries who are in a fragile situation, who were already in a fragile situation with a need of humanitarian support. And there it is important to create a breakthrough so that humanitarian people and development people are really working together, involving local people in order to be aware of the huge importance of having food and nutrition security, including in all the actions from the very beginning, and making sure that the planting for a next harvest or the system for good nutrition is done from the very beginning of the humanitarian intervention. Food and nutrition doesn't get enough, the importance of nutrition is not enough recognized right now. So from a country level, but also from the Sun Movement global level and from the UN level, from all levels, we need to make it happen. The ambition is there already from 2016, but now it needs to be implemented if we are not leave too many people behind. What do I hope to see as an outcome of this roundtable? With having almost 200 participants as we speak, I hope that you will start where you are, because we count on your leadership from where you are. In 194 member countries of the UN, at the very moment, there is the invitation to start to organize food systems dialogues. And I would like to make a strong call upon you. Please be at the table of the food systems dialogues, combine it with the universal health coverage, ask for special attention or make sure that there's special attention to build resilience, so the inclusion of social protection and having good nutrition from the very beginning is a crucial topic there, and be around the table to set clear priorities. These priorities can be promoted to make it to the Food Systems Summit in September. And the organizations, the organizers of the Food Systems Summit and the government of Japan are in close collaboration with each other to make sure that the Food Systems Summit is a springboard for N4G. So that things, commitments, and tracks from country or in the field of improving nutrition through health, through food, through building resilience is taken up from the Food Systems Summit and brought to the Nutrition for Growth to really make sure that the investment will be done at country level, but that the commitments are also made by not only country representatives, but also by global players. The connection between countries and global actors is more important than ever. And it's more important than ever that countries are leading the way, are building their own future, and are setting their own priorities with the support and with the alignment of the global players. How to do this? Well, we know, and it's well known, that right now we need to have an extra $7 billion a year to invest in nutrition and to make sure that by 2030, malnutrition is a thing of the past, but also through collaboration. And the Global Nutrition Report, and I recommend you to look at it, the Global Nutrition Report has excellent tools to create these smart commitments. And there is also a commitment guide developed for for Nutrition for Growth in order to guide you. But one thing is for sure, as soon as you leave this meeting, look at where the organization of the National Food Systems Dialogue is and make sure that you and your partners, the multisectoral players, have a seat at the table and are there to create realistic but ambitious and bold commitments for the Food Systems Summit that will be further developed towards the N4G. Let's make use of this year to build forward better and to make the N4G Summit in December in Japan an excellent closing of a year to recommit to nutrition in order to speed on, to get more speed on improving nutrition between now and 2030, making sure that we are leaving no one behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gerda, for your remarks and also for making the link between N4G and the Food Systems Summit. And now I would like to give the floor to Dr. Renata Miccia, Chair of the Global Nutrition Report's Independent Expert Group. Dr. Renata will be presenting to you on the Global Nutrition Report key resources, including its newly developed N4G Commitment Registration Form and N4G Commitment Registration Guide. Over to you, Renata. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for the introduction. And I have also just shared my screen. Hopefully everybody can see it. If not, please let me know. So this is such a great opportunity to get everybody's thoughts and understand how we can better support them during the commitment making process. I have been the chair of the Global Nutrition Report for about a year now, and it's such an exciting time for nutrition to see everybody come together and gear up for a year of commitment making. I'm here to talk to you about the role of the Global Nutrition Report in the Year of Action and how we will be supporting and driving stronger nutrition commitments. To put things in perspective, 1 in 9 people are hungry or undernourished, and 1 in 3 adults are overweight or obese. Malnutrition can take many forms and includes multiple diet-related conditions caused by not having enough calories, nutrients, or quality food, or by having too much low-quality food. When we say undernutrition, we mainly refer to childhood stunting and wasting, as well as micronutrient deficiencies such as anemia. And it's unacceptable that 820 million people, including children, don't have enough food or enough healthy food. That number is twice the size of the United States, and it's projected to go up with COVID that has led to food shortages and driven many previously food-secure households to food insecurity. At the same time, overweight and obesity affect 2 billion adults worldwide. That is a big number, and it's only going up. Obesity puts a lot of strain to our health systems, and our societies, as it's both a chronic disease and a risk factor for other diet-related diseases. So building population resilience through addressing nutrition is essential, and COVID made us realize that the hard way. What does it mean for countries? I'm sure that seeing this world map makes you want to try and find your own country and see the progress it has made. This map shows progress towards global nutrition targets that are set to expire in 4 years. There are 2 sets of global targets, one for maternal and child malnutrition, such as anemia in reproductive ages, low birth weight, stunting, and wasting, and another one for diet-related chronic diseases, such as overweight, obesity, and diabetes. We refer to those collectively as global nutrition targets, and there are 10 of those. To give you examples of actual targets set, for stunting, the goal is to reduce by 40% the number of children under 5 who are stunted, and for adult obesity, it's to stop the rise in prevalence. Of course, the orange for all targets means that none of the 10 global targets are on course to being met, and that's the case for almost half of all countries. 50 countries are on course to meet at least 1 target, 35 at least 2, 13 at least 3, and just 8 to meet 4 targets, which is the maximum number of targets any country is on track to meet of the 10. This is clearly a problematic picture and speaks to the nature of the issue we're faced with. So what is driving the global nutrition crisis? Our diets. Poor diets are the leading cause of poor health as compared to many other traditional risk factors, such as smoking, high blood pressure, even air pollution. Almost 300 million years are lost prematurely every year worldwide due to child and maternal malnutrition, and almost 200 million years are lost prematurely due to dietary risks, that is, diet factors associated with chronic diseases. The Global Nutrition Report was born in 2013 out of the Nutrition for Growth Summit to help us understand nutrition and guide action globally, a global problem requiring a global solution. To serve this purpose, we created 2 tools which have been refreshed and will be updated further this year. The country nutrition profiles that track the problem, how we are burdened by poor diets and malnutrition, because we need evidence-based decision-making and actions. And the nutrition commitment tracker that tracks the solutions offered, because poor diets and resulting malnutrition are not simply a matter of personal choices, and because promises without action mean nothing. We will come back to the Nutrition for Growth tracker, so let's get a glimpse of the country nutrition profiles first. So what can you expect to find on our country nutrition profiles? As the name suggests, the nutrition profile of each country worldwide, as well as for regions and the globe. So our tool focuses on the where, the location, leveraging the latest available nutrition data. We have used interactive features and charts to best visualize the available information that is cutting across 5 sections. The visuals on this slide are some key snapshots from the web page for illustration, and we'll be looking at key findings on the region's progress shortly after that. First and foremost, our profiles feature progress towards global nutrition targets, which I introduced before. These targets, as mentioned, are set to expire in 4 years, and they were set by the World Health Assembly in 2013. Diets, covering what we eat, from infants to adults, and how that compares to optimal levels of consumption. burden of malnutrition, covering the various forms of malnutrition from undernutrition to diet-related chronic diseases across a life course. Nutrition strategies and financing, actions, strategies, policies taken to address poor diets and malnutrition, and investments that are being made. And last but not least, social determinants of nutrition, such as under 5 mortality rate, poverty, and various markers of inequality. Looking specifically at the Asia region and progress towards each of the global nutrition targets, we see that progress is too slow. Progress is being assessed by comparing current levels with expected levels for the countries to meet those targets on time. Looking at how filled the gray bar is, you can see that only a few countries are on course to meet select few targets. For example, for exclusive breastfeeding, 10 of the 48 countries in the region are on course, and for under 5 stunting, only 14 countries, while no country in the region is on course to meet all targets. We briefly saw the country nutrition profiles and how these help us track the problem. Please feel free to visit our website to see the state of your country through interactive visualizations. And now let's explore together the Nutrition for Growth Commitment Tracker that tracks the solutions offered. The nutrition tracker focuses on the who makes commitments and the type of commitments they make. What you can expect to find on our tracker now is commitments made at past summits. For the year of action, we will be updating the webpage to reflect the new principles and the new commitments to be made. In terms of the who, we monitor pledges made by all stakeholders, including countries, donors, businesses, civil society organizations, and the UN. The commitments they make can vary. A key example is financial commitments that support increased financing for nutrition, such as a proportion of total government health budget allocated to nutrition, or securing a specified amount for nutrition investments. Another example is policy commitments related to implementing any legal regulatory framework, policy, strategy, or action plan, such as a product taxation, for example, a sugar-sweetened beverage tax, where we tax beverages on their sugar content, product reformulation to reduce, for example, sodium or added sugar intake, fortification mandates to add iron or folate, marketing, labeling regulations, school, work, environment policies, and dietary guidelines. And another example is impact commitments that are in line with the global nutrition targets and sustainable development goals, such as decreasing childhood stunting and wasting or decreasing the prevalence of obesity. To give you a taste of how we track and report on each commitment made at past summits, our tool assesses progress made as having reached their target, on course, or off course. Most commitments were made and reached by countries. To showcase this, I picked the UK as a prominent example, where they exceeded the target to disperse a total of £2.7 billion in nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive financing between 2013 and 2018, dispersing in total £3.9 billion. They also reached the original target to reach 50 million children, adolescent girls, and women with various nutrition programs by 2020. The World Bank is another example from a known country donor perspective, where they provided approximately $2 billion in nutrition-specific financing from mid-2017 to mid-2019, exceeding the original target of $1.7 billion. As mentioned, this section of our website will be updated to reflect key changes in GNR's role in the year of action and beyond, so please stay tuned. If 2020 was an eye-opening year for nutrition, 2021 should be the year of making strong and impactful nutrition commitments. To drive stronger and smarter nutrition commitments in the year of action, the Global Nutrition Report will remain the primary and go-to nutrition accountability mechanism, and will develop and lead the nutrition accountability framework, effectively construct and coordinate the entire framework under which nutrition commitments will be made, assessed, and tracked. This framework will include criteria and guidance for how to qualify nutrition commitments, and will leverage and realign existing accountability mechanisms. It will also facilitate the registration of nutrition commitments via online resources through a guide and form, which I will be introducing shortly. We will also develop methods for nutrition commitment tracking and assessment. And of course, monitor the nutrition commitments and report on their progress on an annual basis. The GNR will be detailing and publishing the Nutrition Accountability Framework work throughout this year and as soon as material and resources get developed. To facilitate the commitment registration process for the year of action, the GNR has developed a registration guide and form, which have been endorsed by the government of Japan and are in alignment with the N4G commitment making guide and the N4G vision and roadmap. The registration process involves 4 steps. 1, reviewing the guide. 2, formulating smart nutrition commitments. 3, registering your commitments online. And 4, reporting on your progress to the Global Nutrition Report. Let's look at the guide in a bit more detail. This step-by-step guide includes what you need to know before making a commitment, effectively familiarizing yourselves with the N4G principles of engagement, the thematic areas that Gerda mentioned, and the commitment types, for example, policy, financial, operational, and so on. It describes the registration form and provides examples on how to complete the form. It explains how to formulate SMART commitments and provides concrete examples of SMART nutrition commitments. Making SMART commitments ensures that each commitment put forward is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, and that it can be tracked and reported on annually. It provides a link for where to go to and register your commitments online. And finally, it describes what to expect after registering your commitments, which is that all commitments will be recorded in the compact, the outcome document of the Tokyo N4G Summit. Commitments will also be shared publicly by the GNR, which will be tracking and reporting progress towards those commitments on an annual basis. It is recommended that you register your commitments online. Alternatively, you can download the registration form and email it to the GNR team. The completion of the form is required in order to register your commitments. The form has 3 sections. Section 1 identifies the commitment-making entity and the stakeholder group it represents, as well as the number of commitments to be registered. Multiple commitments across all thematic areas are encouraged. Section 2 is where you can record your actual commitments, and it has 3 parts. The first part specifies the commitment criteria, type, and focus. That is the criteria that commitments must meet, including being SMART, aligning with national priorities, aligning with principles of engagement, and annual reporting to the GNR, as well as indicating the commitment type and focus. The second part is the commitment ingredients, which is the breakdown of the commitment into distinct ingredients to enable the formulation of SMART and trackable commitments. And the third part is the full commitment, as to be registered in the compact, that is the formulation or the wording of the full commitment using the previously defined ingredients. Please note that we need both the ingredients of each commitment and its full wording. Section 3 is any feedback you have for us that will be used to strengthen and improve the registration form and the wider registration process. We're confident that the guidance form will provide the required support to make SMART commitments. These 2 documents will be refined further in the next couple of months based on feedback received and resources secured. This year, we have the opportunity to put nutrition at the top of the global policy agenda and reverse the negative effects of COVID on nutrition, but only if all stakeholders take bold and concerted action. The GNR makes a case for governments, businesses, and civil society to enable faster and more impactful progress towards improving nutrition in 4 key ways. 1, build equitable, resilient, and sustainable food and health systems to ensure that everyone has access to healthy food and quality nutrition care. 2, expand financing, crucially for diet-related chronic diseases, and direct resources and programs to the communities and populations most affected. 3, focus on joint efforts by engaging and mobilizing all sectors to act now and target those most in need. And 4, leverage key moments such as the UN Food System Summit and the Tokyo Nutrition for Growth Summit to renew and expand commitments, and of course, strengthen accountability to monitor pledges and commitments. Well, that's enough for me. I hope I covered how the Global Nutrition Report supports and drives stronger nutrition commitments in the year of action and beyond. We look forward to receiving your commitments, and please feel free to reach out for any questions you may have relating to the registration process. I look forward to our discussion. Over to you, Patricia.
Thank you, Renata. It was a very clear presentation, and it will be shared, the presentation. I saw that there were questions. So now we will start with our roundtable participants, who are colleagues from governments, some civil society networks, some business networks, and UN agencies. The first question that I would like to put to the group is: the Nutrition for Growth Year of Action and Summit present stakeholders from different sectors, countries, and regions with an unprecedented opportunity to prioritize and advance progress on nutrition. What action are you, your country, taking to advance the nutrition agenda? And what type of assistance might you need to make progress on nutrition, and also in preparing for the Tokyo N4G summit? Let us start now with the government colleagues who are joining us today. I would like to invite Ms. Kazi Zebunessa Begum, Additional Secretary, World Health and Public Health, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Bangladesh. You will start to speak, and then I will move around to hear more comments, remarks, and responses. Over to you. Thank you.
Respected Dr. Amy Inaoka, Garda Verwerk, Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, Dr. Renata Mecha, distinguished delegates, excellencies, participants of the Sun Movement, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and very good morning, afternoon, and good evening to all of you. It's a great privilege for me to join and speak in this first regional level virtual roundtable on building momentum for the Nutrition for Growth Year of Action. I would like to begin by thanking the Global Nutrition Report and the Scaling Up Nutrition Sun Movement for co-hosting this event, for supporting commitment-making processes for N4G action of the year. We all know that nutrition is well recognized as an important determinant of physical growth, cognitive development, and fundamental to achieve optimal health, as well as essential for national socio-economic development. Dear audience, ensuring nutrition for the people is identified as a fundamental duty in the Constitution of the Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh. After liberation, Bangladesh has shown its commitment towards improving nutrition by establishing institutional arrangements and a multi-sectoral coordination body for nutrition led by our Honorable Prime Minister. National policies and action plan focused on nutrition, food and relevant issues, etc. All these efforts support Bangladesh not only to make immense achievement in nutrition sector, but also to be on track to achieve global targets, commitments, agendas like SDG WHA, ICN2. Over the past decade, malnutrition rates have declined in the country. Stunting is now below the WHO critical threshold of 40%. Stunting of children decreased from 43.2% to 31% in 2007 to 2018. Also, wasting has declined from 17.4% to 8%. Dear participants, the COVID-19 pandemic has already created a health, nutrition, and economic crisis. Due to its importance and its interconnectivity with immunity, nutrition remains one of the top priorities for the government of Bangladesh and includes as an integral part of its COVID-19 response. Due to COVID-19, country-level progresses towards achieving the global targets can be slow-paced, but a concerted effort involving all the relevant sectors, actors, and nations, high-level political along with financial commitments throughout the world can build a momentum. We are thankful to the government of Japan to host Nutrition for Growth Summit at the right moment, when nutrition needs more attention to keep the pace to achieve global target and commitments. We need strong advocacy at national as well as international level to ensure commitment, prioritize, and equitable funding in nutrition-specific and sensitive sectors. Reforming relevant programs to make more nutrition-focused or nutrition-sensitive mainstream nutrition in relevant sectors with a goal to improve situation. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Bangladesh is committed to continue investment in nutrition and committed to include nutrition services in universal health coverages to ensure access to healthy, affordable, and quality nutrition care, ensure social safety net programs for the vulnerable, increase diversified, safe, nutrient-rich food production, and establish effective information system to monitor and generate evidence. We are fortunate enough to have the highest political commitment from our Honorable Prime Minister to improve the nutrition scenario here in Bangladesh, and relevant ministries are directed to work together to achieve the common goals. Dear friends, we have to be more cautious to mitigate the challenges around making commitments where everyone's participation is must. We have to engage the development partners, UN bodies, civil societies, academia, and private sectors in our journey. Along with this, we all the stakeholders around the globe need to share a common vision and commitment to eliminate malnutrition, both underweight and obesity and overweight, and improve the health and nutritional status, especially of women, adolescent girls, and children. We look forward to our continued collaboration and joint effort towards making the 2021 N4G Summit a tremendous success. We believe in leave no one behind. Together we can achieve more and dream of a better tomorrow where no one is left behind. With this, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Kazi Zebunessa Bekum. Now I would like to invite Dr. Ahmed Jalil, Member, Food Security and Climate Change Planning Commission, Government of Pakistan.
Thank you very much, Madam Gerda, the Global Sun Coordinator, and my distinguished colleagues from different governments and the participants, honorable participants. Very brief and very focused. I would just like to share our nutrition status based on the National Nutrition Survey 2018. In Pakistan, currently we have average 42.3% stunting status, and that is our focus target, how to reduce it and how to eliminate it in next 10 years. So based on that targets, we have very focused principles and strategy at the government level in collaboration with our private sector as well as with the donors and other organizations. The principle is that at household level, we have to ensure the availability of basic food stuff, especially at least the eggs and milk should be available at household level for all the family members. And second principle is that without dealing the symptomatic treatment and actions, we have to deal this issue through the removing the cause of stunted growth and malnutrition and reducing the hunger and poverty in our country. With these principal guidelines, currently at federal level, the current status of development initiatives has a portfolio of $2.1 billion. And in provinces, what we have gathered from all our provinces, development portfolio, which are currently in the shape of different development projects and initiatives, it is 61 million US dollars current. And in future, what we have discussed at our planning commission under the chair of the deputy chairman planning commission. And let me share one thing. This government, this political government, current government, headed by Mr. Khan, the world famous cricketer and the celebrity, climate and nutrition is the top political agenda of this government. So to follow and to comply with the directions of the Prime Minister, we have consistent meetings at the Planning Commission, because Planning Commission has a role of overarching and coordinating with different departments and stakeholders, especially the multi-sectoral areas like climate and the nutrition. And based on that, we have developed a process that we have to follow before we pledge our commitment with this forum, that we are in the process of stock taking from all the ministries, sectors and provinces, also consolidating all the nutrition sensitive and specific programs at the public sector, private sector and donors-led programs. And also we are in the process of sensitizing and in consultation process with the stakeholders, especially the our private sector through the Chamber of Commerce's donors and the different provincial authorities and development agencies to sensitize them and focus them and allocate special budgets for their next 3 years, short-term basis and the medium-term basis. So based on that, we have set a target of 15th April. We will be able to sensitize and collect the information from the industry through the Chamber of Commerce's, that they should pledge special fundings and initiatives under their CSR program. And that may be the more than, I'm expecting that it should be more than the overall commitment and allocations of the public sector. And secondly, we are also asking our donors, especially I am having a series of meetings and consultation one by one with all the EU, USAID, World Bank, and all other donors, DFID, and sensitizing and asking them that they should focus on our national top agenda, that is the climate and the nutrition. And hopefully we'll be able to get the information at the end of April or mid-April, how much they can commit in their portfolios. Then we are in the process of budgetary formation for the next year, and our budget year month is the June is our budget annual budget formulation and announcement month. And before that, in our provincial level and federal level, we complete the process of development portfolio up to the first week of May. In 15th of May, our budget books are published at provincial level and federal level. So what we are doing, we are sensitizing, and we are in continuously having a meeting one by one with all the provincial agencies, the planning and development departments, sensitizing them and asking them that they should commit and they should design maximum projects related to the food security, food supply system, and focusing on the stunted growth and malnutrition according to their this National Nutrition Survey for their provinces and districts. So hopefully at the end of April, we will be able to gather all the information which we will be able to commit at the global level, focusing on the this global nutrition agenda. So this is all about from my side, and in this consultative process, our National Sun Movement is taking the lead for coordination, facilitation, and organizing different consultative processes with these stakeholders. So hopefully at the end of 15th May, we will be able to consolidate all our commitments from public sector, private sector, provincial level, and donors, and we will be able to register as has been guided in the presentation. So we will submit our commitments, inshallah. Thank you very much for providing us the opportunity to talk with you, all the galaxy of experts and the professionals and activists all over the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for these very interesting remarks, and really also for highlighting the priority of climate change and nutrition. We now welcome the latest member of the Sun Movement family, the government of Timor-Leste. And I would like to invite Dr. Felipe da Costa, Coordinator, Civil Society Support Unit, Representative for Nutrition and Food Security, Office of the Prime Minister. Please, we are looking for you to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Patricia Fracassi, the Senior Food and Security Officer from the FAO. My respect to Dr. Emi Inaoka, Deputy Director of the Global Health Division of Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan. My respect to Gerda Verboek, Ms. Gerda Verboek, the UN Assistant Secretary General and then Sun Movement Coordinator. Dr. Renata Micha, the Chair of the Global Nutrition Report, and colleagues at the roundtable discussion, those that who have already spoken before me, distinguished participants, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity, especially Timor-Leste, to first join the Sun Movement, and we are happy that we can also participate at these very important roundtable discussions. First, I would like to start with saying that what we have done so far that on the nutrition is we want to make sure that nutrition is in the agenda of not only high political level, but at the household level. So in the past, the government of Timor-Leste have established a National Council for Food Security and Nutrition, while at the same time we conducted campaigns through providing President Nutrition Award and community consultations as well as health services that not only up to the health post, but we are providing community outreach and family health services, where nutrition is the part of that services. The next to that, the government of Timor-Leste developed its strategies relevant to nutrition, starting from joining the Zero Hunger Action Plan. So we have a Zero Hunger Action Plan in place. Then the government issued National Policy on Food and Security by government decree. And then following to that, the National Parliament also issue a National Parliament resolution or to prioritize SDG 2. And we also just update our national nutrition strategy. These are the documents that guide us to prepare to move forward on tackling the malnutrition in Timor-Leste. However, as you will see in our data that probably already shared worldwide, our nutrition status is still not very good. We have conducted several studies, including agriculture census in 2019. We just conducted another food and nutrition survey lately and launched in 2020. Other studies was also conducted to gauge our achievement. We learned that we are not going very far, but we are making progress. Our stunting was reduced from 58% down to 47% last year. Our wasting was reduced from 18.6% to 8% last year. Underweight is also reduced, overweight also reduced. With that, we think that we need to move on. The government of Timor-Leste need to move on another step. So we applied for joining the SUN movement. We thank the Secretariat for accepting Timor-Leste as the newest member of the SUN movement countries. We are now preparing, we prepared our multi-sector action plan. It is in the draft process. We are sending around for consultation, but unfortunately, COVID arrived, so we stopped doing that. Because when COVID arrived, it makes situation even worse. Historically, our data says that only 25% of the population is food secure, but when COVID arrived, make the situation even worse. So we are worried about maybe the stunting will be increased, wasting and other indicators will be increased. So government then move on to the emergency interventions. We started with cash transfer to all families. And we are hoping that through that cash transfer can put right food on the table for families. Then we move on with the food basket. Currently, government is still distributing food basket. Food basket composes of nutrition and food items that are included. And the government started to prepare itself to do long-term interventions. And fortunately, we have budget approved in December, and we are ready to do long-term interventions. Then the government returned to finalizing the multi-sector action plan that I was just mentioned before. We call the multi-sector action plan CNAP, Consolidated National Action Plan for Food Security and Nutrition. This document will be costed, and we will set up a mini system for it. Based on this document, we will know how much money we have invested in past years, including this year, and we will then prepare our commitment to invest in the following years. So this document can also become a reference for advocacy of increasing intervention. The government is realized that with the current intervention, our success is still not very satisfactory. Therefore, with this document, we are hoping to scale up our interventions, and we need to do very good analysis of what we have done so far. The government of Timor-Leste put nutrition and food security at highest level of its agenda, and therefore the Prime Minister have declared to increase interventions in the area of nutrition and food insecurity. We would like to increase our investment in relevant to food security and nutrition, and we want to keep nutrition at everyone's agenda, not only at the policy level, high policy level, but also at the community, because we realize that behavior, attitudes, people's belief, and people's understanding about nutrition, food security is still challenging. We also realize that policy level need to be more focused on food security and nutrition. Therefore, the government would like to raise its commitment towards putting the agenda of nutrition in everyone's portfolio. I think this is what I would like to address. And once again, thank you very much to allow Timor-Leste to be part of this great community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Felipe da Costa, for your insightful remarks and also for the emphasis on the community, on the importance of the communities. We have now our government colleagues from Vietnam, Dr. Chuong Mai, Deputy Director of the National Institute of Nutrition. Over to you, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, the facilitator. Good afternoon, everybody. In the dear Dr. Madam, Dr. Amy and Madam Zeda Webers, and ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank for the Sun invited Vietnam have a present some the speaker for the this afternoon. So we would like to thank and agree with the welcome the address of the Dr. Andra have a very good, excellent speak. So I thank is the excellent presentation from the Dr. Zelata Micha. So okay, now I have learned from the Bangladesh and the Pakistan and the Timor-Leste a lot of the information from the nutrition agenda. So for the Vietnam, in the over the past 10 years, the government of the Vietnam, with the coordination and the international cooperation, has a market reducing the malnutrition. So now in the last year, we have a very big national nutrition survey. We get that so now the reducing the stunting under 5 children. So now they might reduce by the 20%. So malnutrition reduction has been achieved and markedly improving the health in the Vietnam missed people. So the government developed a legal document policy on nutrition from the 20 year. So we have a very, it's the 10 year, we have developed the national nutrition strategy. So in the last year, we have two big, we have to build up the one big program for the first 1,000 days of the nutrition care for the children and mother and children. So for now, we are developing the National Nutrition Strategy 2021 and the 2030, with the aiming to ensure access to the healthy diet and the sustainable diet. Take the effective nutrition action to improving the nutrition and the preventing malnutrition, micronutrient deficiency, and the overweight, obesity, and the non-communicable disease for the whole people. So the new National Nutrition Strategy building up the healthcare system network from the central to local with the multi-sectoral collaboration to focus on specific nutrition intervention and the sensitive nutrition intervention. Prioritize nutrition in the food system and the health system to ending malnutrition in its own form, especially reducing the stunting in children in the vulnerable group, including the ethnic minority and the remote or the poor area in the Vietnam. So another action we now is for the nutrition sensitive intervention. We for Vietnamese government focus in the on the zero hunger plan to ensure enough food and the foodstuff to meet the nutritional need of the people in order to raise the two status, intellect and the stature of the Vietnamese people, in order to achieve the SDG number 2. Thus, the Vietnamese government committed to the United Nations. It is a applying nutrition sensitive agriculture and the food system approach. So in the Vietnamese government is focused on the integrate nutrition into the universal health coverage SDG in the Vietnam. So of course the nutrition policy and nutrition action in the Vietnam complying with the party Vietnamese party resolution, incorporate law and the other legal document from the government. So another ongoing chance Vietnamese government to on the nutrition in the integrating and the coordinating across sector nutrition sensitive movement and Sun business network. So in the another thing I think is a very important action now is the Vietnamese government is to invest for the government in the central to local invest the funding for nutrition. But I think is the funding is not enough for all the nutrition activities. So, but I think is to support very good for the many nutrition activity from the central to local. Of course, in addition to support from the international organization is a very good contribute to the reducing the malnutrition in the Vietnam in the last 10 years and now. So for the to talk about the we are the rated some barrier in the my country to come in the advancing the nutrition agenda. So in the Vietnam we have some the barrier is the first. There is a growing challenging presented by the double burden. So now we put one more for the triple burden with the high prevalent malnutrition, including in the micronutrient deficiency in the children. So combining with the rising rates of overweight and obesity and the chronic disease. So another thing I think the regional disparity in the under and the malnutrition rates remain high among the ethnic minority and remote and the poor area. So the second barrier in the Vietnam has been recognized is one among the 5 countries affected by the global climate change. So food stability is strongly affected by climate change in some regions in Vietnam. So now, addition, I think in the Vietnam is to facing the COVID-19 outbreak. So I think we need to invest for the activity of the nutrition emergency in Vietnam. The third barrier in Vietnam we facing in the implementation things the nutrition sensitive and the food system for nutrition approach, which the require multi-stakeholder engagement and the commitment. There is still a gap in the coordination among the different sectors. Also in the mechanism for the coordination in the Vietnam, I think is still weak. In the fourth, the rapid urbanization will also affect the diets and habits of the consumer in the Vietnam very quickly. Of course, in the young children is very affected by the rapid urbanization. So the final is we are facing for the network and the capacity for the implementing nutrition activity has not been the state and the centralized in the Vietnam. So another thing I think is for the budget and the financing in the investment for nutrition in the Vietnam, I think is facing in the some problem during in the Vietnam now in the developing country. So for the so I think is for the Tokyo N4G summit in the December in the Vietnam government, we have to mobilize some commitment to make in the ahead of the summit. So Vietnam National Nutrition Strategy is under preparation for the new state led by the Ministry of Health, and we are the engaging with the member of the Nutrition Technical Working Group, including the NGO, research organization, UN agencies, government office, to add the nutrition sensitive and the food system for the nutrition into this new strategy. We will employ this network and this opportunity to make it in line with the Tokyo N4G summit in the December 2021. In addition, the team in the Vietnam, including the NGO, research organization, UN agency, government, the CISAS organization is working on the UN food system summit dialogues. So it will also benefit to Nutrition for Growth summit in December. And the support on the technical
Dr.
and the final.
Sorry, this is Deborah from the Sun Secretariat. I'm afraid that we'll need to ask you to wrap up because we still have a few more.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah. So final, yeah. So in the Vietnam now is facing in the COVID-19 period. So I think in the Vietnam is prepare for the nutrition guideline for under emergency situation for ready to for the future. So we also very protect the nutrition children first 1,000 day apply. So of course protection breastfeeding and prevent milk company in the for the advertising using the COVID-19. So I think in the for the
thank you so much, Dr. Chuang. Thank you so much for all your remarks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you also for really mentioning so many comprehensive commitments.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We stay in Southeast Asia, and welcome Miss Valerie Julian, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in Indonesia. The UN have a big role to play, supporting governments, and we look forward to hearing Ms. Julian and the plans in Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Patricia.
Thank you.
And greetings from Jakarta to everybody. Greta and Dr. Emi Inaoka from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, Dr. Renata Micha from the Global Nutrition Report Expert Group, all the fellow panelists, and also ladies and gentlemen. First, let me say that it's a great pleasure for me to be here with you. I represent both the UN in Indonesia, but more globally, I would say the UN Nutrition. And for those of you who don't know, the UN Nutrition is actually the United Nations new collaboration platform for nutrition. It actually results from the merging of the UN Network for Scale-up Nutrition and the United Nations System Standing Committee on Nutrition. I mean, all this has been merged. But before answering the question on what we, the UN in Indonesia, do to advance the nutrition agenda, just let me come again on some points that have been mentioned by previous speakers. Because many references have been done to the COVID crisis, and we know that it has affected every country, every city, every village, and somehow it has affected every and each of the 7 billion plus people on the planet. It has claimed 2.5 million lives and counting, and many more millions have actually lost their jobs, entered poverty, and so on and so forth. But actually, when we hear the presentation of Renata, what we see is that malnutrition, whether the too much or too little, directly and indirectly kills more people every day than COVID, and it affects the life of many more. So it means that really this issue of nutrition is not superfluous. It should be the top priority of all the countries, and I'm very glad to hear the commitment of all the countries. So when it comes to Indonesia, Indonesia as well is committed to addressing nutrition. The fact that Indonesia actually joined the Scaling Up Nutrition movement in 2011 is a proof of that. The country is committed. On our side as UN, but together with actually the donor community, we are aligning all our nutrition efforts, and we have put all our efforts in a combined UN donor network that is called the Donor and UN Country Network on Nutrition. This network is actually co-chaired by UNICEF and the World Bank, and there are 6 UN agencies that are members. Of course, the 3 Rome-based agencies, FAO, IFAD, and WFP, and also UNFPA, UNICEF, and WHO. So what UN Nutrition does is that we participate in the multi-stakeholder platform that the Ministry of National Planning in Indonesia, Bappenas, has put in place. And our way to contributing to this platform is, of course, through a technical expertise, but also through all the discussion and to the constant promotion of nutrition. And what we do as well is to put an emphasis on the promotion of the ways to address nutrition challenges also at local level, also with district authorities. When COVID happened and started almost a year ago, the UN in Indonesia issued several statements with a view to actually making sure that we understand that the measures that were put in place and that are still put in place to contain the virus that were absolutely necessary also impact on people in a negative manner, and especially for the most vulnerable people. And one of the impact, it's actually on the nutritional status of people. So it's a kind of a combined situation of having, on the one hand, COVID and all the side effects, if I can say, of COVID, and nutrition is one of them. So in addition, what we do also as UN is that we have been supporting the nutrition component of the national response plan for COVID. And we have helped actually in the development of a roadmap on monitoring and influencing the impact of COVID on food system in Indonesia, with a view to mitigating all the adverse effects on nutrition. All the data on the UN work in support to COVID and to nutrition actually is in the UN country dashboard that is available online. One other, I would say, element that we have in order to support the nutrition agenda, it's actually the UN strategy for Indonesia. the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, which has been actually starting this year in January and is a strategy for 5 years. This cooperation framework is a blueprint for the collaboration between the UN and the government on many areas, and nutrition is actually one of them. The UN agencies as well have supported the review of the nutrition sector that has fed into the National Midterm Development Plan for 2020-2024 that actually elevates nutrition on the national political agenda. So I would say as UN, we have really used the diversity of what we are through our different mandates, the diversity, but as well as the complementarity. Because maybe the last message that I would like to pass is that, of course, with all these challenges ahead of us, one could be depressed because there are many difficult situations. But at the same time, we have, at least for the coming year and the coming years, also many opportunities. It has been mentioned before, there will be the Nutrition for Growth Summit, and there will be the Food Systems Summit this year. And that is really, these will be two big opportunities to first place again nutrition on the agenda, but also look at innovative ways, innovative actions to address it. And now that we have COVID in the background, COVID has forced us somewhat to be more creative. And also COVID has helped us in linking all the different elements, because we realized with COVID that you cannot do one thing if you don't act on the other one. And the same way that the SDGs are all connected, we now see when it comes to nutrition more clearly than ever before how much it links all the different aspects of development. So I would say UN nutrition from that perspective is really the ideal platform to bring together all the UN constituencies and to make sure that the UN actually act as one. So I would say as a resident coordinator for the United Nations in Indonesia, I can absolutely assure you that I will put all the strength of my mandate and the system to first support the incoming summits. Actually, within Indonesia, already the government of Indonesia has appointed a convener for the Food System Summit Dialogue, and the many UN agencies, and particularly the 3 Rome-based agencies, are supporting the preparation of this dialogue. But also, both the agencies and myself as resident coordinator will continue to advocate for nutrition, especially within the context of the SDGs, because we know that a good nutrition is actually an essential building block for the achievement of the SDGs. And as I said earlier on, the best asset of the UN is both the diversity and the complementarity of our UN agencies. So I will continue to promote a multi-sectoral approach, which already exists. But I think that we can actually bring in more agencies. In addition to the agencies that I mentioned and that are part of the UN nutrition, there are many other agencies that could join. And one of them is, for instance, ILO. Because what we see, once again, within the context of COVID, is the impact on labor. And all this is interlinked and intertwined. So definitely, I commit to try to bring within the UN nutrition activity other agencies that will bring their mandate and their expertise. But also, the last point is that we need to have constantly a joint approach. So we will also work together with the UN agency to develop more joint program, joint initiative that will blend the emergency and the development agenda, because COVID is both an emergency and a development crisis. So is nutrition. So I just wanted to tell you that the UN team in Indonesia is fully committed to supporting the government of Indonesia, and the government is also fully committed to addressing those issues. So I think we have a very good combination to hopefully make great progress on the issue of nutrition in Indonesia. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you so much, Valerie, also for emphasizing the importance of diversity and complementarity, which, by the way, is also the key for a balanced, healthy diet. So it's really always important. So the next 2 speakers are colleagues who will provide a regional perspective. Mr. Danish Irshad, SUN CSN Regional Coordinator for Asia and member of the N4G Advisory Board, Nutrition International Pakistan, and Dr. Angela De Silva, WHO Regional Advisor for Southeast Asia. Mr. Danish Irshad, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. And I would like to appreciate GNR and Sun Movement for organizing this roundtable. And I believe we may be requiring follow-up roundtables in upcoming months. Since I'm representing Sun CSN Asia Coordination Group, therefore I will be sharing broader civil society perspective. N4G Year of Action is really important for us as it provides opportunity to advance nutrition agenda and to accelerate progress on ending all forms of malnutrition. As convener of Sun Civil Society Asia Coordination Group, we have sensitized and capacitated civil society organization in Sun countries, particular in Asia region, to contribute in mobilizing new policy and financial commitments and delivering existing commitments. In line with the N4G vision and roadmap, we have developed our regional N4G mobilization plan, which includes a number of country level activities as well as regional level activities. At national level, we are facilitating Sun Civil Society alliances to develop advocacy material on the value of investing in nutrition and developing specific messages for policy fora to ensure nutrition is prioritized in national plans and adequate financial resources are allocated in upcoming budgets. Sun Civil Society alliances in Asia region are sensitizing parliamentarians to ensure nutrition remains high on political agenda during and beyond the COVID-19 crisis, and that nutrition is adequately integrated in COVID-19 recovery plans through a multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder approach. Last year, Sun CSN Asia initiated a regional campaign called Nutrition Cannot Wait. The first phase of this campaign focused on highlighting importance of nutrition in context of COVID-19 and restoration of essential health and nutrition services. I'm happy to share that this campaign was widely supported by all walks of society, and our messages were endorsed by senior political leaders and media. The second phase of campaign will start from March this year. Uh, During second phase of campaign, we aim to highlight economic and social returns of investment in nutrition and also encourage policy and financial commitment for nutrition. We also aim to follow up with those countries who already made pledges during the launch of N4G Year of Action event in December 2020. In addition, we are also encouraging CSOs to participate and contribute in all major N4G milestone events and use every advocacy opportunity to advance nutrition agenda at national, regional, and global level. Similarly, CSOs are also planning to pledge during N4G Year of Action, and we are helping them to ensure that commitments are made as per N4G commitment making guide and registration process is followed. We are committed to contribute in all action tracks through food system dialogues and plan to arrange independent dialogues at national, at regional level to ensure civil society voices and recommendation around all action tracks reach to summit organizer and action tracks leads. We understand that due to COVID-19 situation, mobilization of financial commitment is a big challenge for us. But we also know that this pandemic has exposed weaknesses of our health and food systems. Now, global leaders know that we need more investment to strengthen our health and food system, as well as we need to focus more on addressing equity issue, as highlighted by GNR. We also recognize that at country level, we need more coordinated and coherent efforts to build momentum and advance the nutrition agenda. I think some focal points at country level and multi-stakeholder platform members can enable this coordination, and civil society is there to facilitate such efforts. At the end, we would like to emphasize that all of us must respect and ensure that N4G principle of engagement throughout the year of action activities are properly implemented at national, regional, and global level to ensure transparency and achieve ownership of all stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Danish. We have now Dr. Angela.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Dr. Amy Inoka, Government of Japan, Ms. Gerda Werberg, UN Assistant Secretary General and Sun Movement Coordinator, Dr. Naoko, ADG WHO, and Dr. Renata Mika, and respected colleagues of the Roundtable and dear participants. So in the next couple of minutes, I will try and provide very briefly some information on how we as WHO Regional Office support one aspect of the agenda for nutrition and growth from the perspective of WHO. So the, universal health coverage is a target for Sustainable Development Goal 3. And as you may know, WHO's 13th Global Program of Work has 3 goals to be achieved by 2025. And this includes 1 billion more people benefiting from universal health coverage. Therefore, WHO is working towards ensuring health system strengthening to ensure that people receive high quality health services. And this is already a priority agenda in many countries. Now, many of the recognized nutrition interventions, the direct nutrition interventions, are most feasibly delivered through the health system. So in terms of nutrition, universal health coverage means that all people should have access to a set of quality nutrition interventions which are prioritized by their country and are affordable. Therefore, one of the main focus areas of WHO Regional Office where I work is in advancing the nutritional agenda in countries through the support for strengthening nutrition service delivery within the agenda of achieving universal health coverage. And for this, we don't work alone, we work with other UN and other development partners in many of these efforts. Now, in Southeast Asia region, the policy environment in most countries is generally quite positive, and the health sector is a key delivery channel for implementing nutrition interventions. Nutrition is included to a great extent in healthcare delivery packages, but often nutrition service coverage is low and has less priority compared to other service delivery packages or service delivery actions, and has inadequate access and poor service quality. Therefore, we advocate and support countries to expand coverage of nutrition interventions, increase access, and improve the quality of nutrition services delivered through the health sector, which will also obviously increase community demand for nutrition services. Of course, the type of support that is supplied by WHO depends on country health systems and ranges from advocacy and strategic policy guidance in mature and robust health systems to more intensive efforts for less robust systems, where we direct our support through addressing deficiencies in different aspects of nutrition services. Our support covers such areas such as nutrition governance, improving workforce capacity, supporting service delivery, and of course on nutrition monitoring and surveillance. So I'll give some examples of the kind of work we support. One of the main areas of work is in relation to nutrition governance. And here we advocate and provide technical support for development of strong policies, strategies, and plans, and when necessary for regulatory and legislative frameworks. Another core area of support is in providing technical assistance for improving nutrition service delivery, which includes the dissemination of normative guidance of WHO and supporting their adaptation at country level. WHO also promotes coordination between nutrition and other health sectors such as reproductive, maternal and child health and school health services. As the nutrition community, we tend to emphasize on multi-sectoral coordination, but intersectoral coordination at all levels is also equally important. Very often, there are many missed opportunities due to poor intersectoral coordination, and these affect nutrition service delivery. For example, nutrition services such as improving birth weight, supporting breastfeeding and complementary feeding, prevention and treatment of anemia, growth monitoring and promotion can be supported within reproductive, maternal and child health service delivery packages. And such opportunities must be identified and utilized, and we support this kind of work at country level. NCD service delivery points are also another area of a recent area of opportunity which we need to take into consideration. While significant interruptions to service delivery have occurred due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it is also an opportunity to review and rectify weaknesses in current health systems and nutrition service delivery. Some of the other areas that we support are in technical support for capacity, improving capacity of nutrition workers with the necessary skills and other performance aids. And one important area that we focus on is data support, where we try to support nutrition surveillance and also the utilization of available data to inform policies and programs. So in some of these ways, we do support countries in order to achieve the nutrition agenda and to work towards nutrition for growth. These are just some few examples, and this support is now more important than ever, given the double burden of malnutrition and the risk of NCDs that are faced by member states in Southeast Asia, and also the COVID pandemic, which has made achievements of country nutrition goals and targets all the more challenging. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Angela. So we have heard from Danish on the plans and strong engagement of the Sun civil society in this year of action for nutrition. And I know that Miss Emily Monville Oro, Philippines, Sun Civil Society Network, International Institute of Rural Reconstruction, who is with us today. She's very excited to share what they are organizing for the Nutrition for Growth Year of Action in 2021.
Thank you, Patricia. And good evening from this side, from the Philippines. And good evening, Dr. Emmy Inoka, from Deputy Director, Special Assistant for Global Health, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan. To Gerda Verburg, our UN Assistant Secretary General and Sun Movement Coordinator. And to Dr. Renata Mica, our Chair of the Global Nutrition Report Independent Expert Group. I really would like to thank GNR and Sun Movement for organizing this RTD and giving us the opportunity to share our experiences in the Philippines with the Scaling Up Nutrition Civil Society Alliance and other stakeholders. I would say that in the last 5 years, the Philippines have achieved important milestones in advancing nutrition agenda. We have put in place the Philippine Plan of Action for Nutrition, or PPAN 2017-2022, led by our National Nutrition Council, which is a multi-sectoral plan that has been drafted via consultation with the various stakeholders. I remember us working together and really discussing and analyzing. We even argued, but at the end of the day, agreed on what kind of nutritional outcomes are we targeting and what kind of programs and strategies do we want to pursue. the Civil Society Alliance also work with other stakeholders to push for nutrition supportive policies and laws. For example, the first 1,000 days law, which really looked at how the maternal and child care and nutrition will be prioritized. Worth mentioning also is the RA 11037, or institutionalizing the national feeding program for undernourished young children, just to mention a few. But though we are seeing progress, I think we in the Philippines are recognizing that we are not there yet. We are not yet on track with our nutrition targets. So how is the Philippines and the various stakeholders are working together to advance the nutrition agenda? Let me highlight and share with you 4 points. First is building upon these nutrition milestones and ensuring nutrition targets and various commitments in the national nutrition plans are realized. I think for now, we really have strong efforts to implement high-level nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive programs in identified priority areas where malnutrition as well as poverty intersect. But this has to be scaled up, and more resources are needed to do this. And that is probably one of the key issue or challenges that we are also confronted with. That brings me to my second point: further increasing investment in nutrition via nutrition-sensitive programming. We are fortunate that through the Sun Pooled Fund supported project, IRR with Scaling Up Nutrition Civil Society Alliance in the Philippines and the National Nutrition Council were able to conduct fora, conferences, dialogues, bilateral discussions, really to increase awareness and better understanding on nutrition-sensitive programs and approaches. Because we recognize that programs like agriculture, education, and social protection have great potential to contribute to achieving our nutrition goals or our nutrition outcomes. But this means going beyond business as usual. It takes tweaking the programs and prioritizing the most vulnerable households with pregnant women, lactating women, and children under 2 years of age, and also our youth. We need to do more on this side. My third point is the provision of multi-stakeholder, multi-sectoral platforms as mechanisms for stronger coordination, collaboration, and harmonization of efforts. We have been emphasizing holistic approach. We have been emphasizing integrated approach. So these platforms are very important. And we're also glad that in the Philippines, we have a lot of these structures in place. We have the Nutrition Sensitive Program Technical Working Group, which will follow through the commitment to the national nutrition plans and accountability of various government agencies, and will serve as a venue for reporting progress of such commitments. Most recently, there was a lot of excitement and hope generated because of the creation of an interagency task force on zero hunger organized by the cabinet secretary. We're excited because we are seeing an opportunity to integrate nutrition in big development programs, those that are supported by World Bank, for example, like the conditional cash transfers or the Kalahi Seeds program. And this is what we need so that we really would be able to sustain whatever gains we are already seeing in nutrition. And of course, we have the different SUN networks in country. We're strengthening our civil society, UN, donor, business, and academe network, and is now coordinated under the SUN Core Group with the able leadership of the National Nutrition Council. My last point, in terms of assistance from other sectors, we really look forward to collaborating with other SUN networks in country at the region and global to help Philippines realize its nutrition goals. We need to bring in more resources to support scaling up implementation impact programs. Otherwise, we cannot be on track. If you have proven methods and tools, especially in the areas of M&E, that would be most useful, and access to success stories where we can also learn and be inspired about. So I believe this year of Action for Nutrition and Nutrition for Growth Summit will give a big push to put nutrition agenda at the center and help sustain and intensify nutrition efforts we have started in the Philippines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily, for your 4 points and insightful examples. Thank you. So youth play a critical role in advocacy, mobilization, and any action from policymakers, and will have an impact on youth in the Asia-Pacific region for years to come. We have invited Ms. Manata Alexandrovna, youth leader for nutrition from Kyrgyzstan, to share her views. Over to you. Thank you. Ms. Manata? Deborah, I don't know if she's among the participants.
Patrizia, she was actually online and I don't see her anymore. Perhaps she's had connection issues. I suggest we go to the next speaker.
Yes.
And find out in the meantime if she can connect again. Thanks.
So our final speakers are two colleagues from the Sun Business Network. Syed Muntasir Ridwan, Sun Business Network Coordinator in Bangladesh, and Farzana Khan, Sun Business Network Coordinator in Sri Lanka. The private sector has an important role to play when it comes to fighting malnutrition. And before we open the floor to questions from the audience, I would like to invite Syed and Farzana to share their perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Patricia, and distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure and honor to speak such an august gathering. So I will be very brief and just say what what we are doing to support the private sector's engagement, and what's our plan for the N4G summit. So as SBN, we think that the 2021 N4G is a key opportunity to broaden private sector engagement, particularly by mobilizing SMEs, which are a critical stakeholder in the food systems across Asia and particularly in Bangladesh. At SBN Bangladesh, we are collaborating with Apex government body for SMEs and the Apex Chamber of Commerce on SMEs. And we are building the capacity of the SMEs to strengthen their ecosystem so that they can build their resilience and they can contribute to nutritious and safe food. And as SBN, we will support SMEs to make individual pledges and become signatories of the responsible business pledges for better nutrition. SBN Bangladesh has been actively working under the leadership of our very active Sun focal point from Ministry of Health, Mr. Zebun Nessa, and we have been working with the National Nutrition Service, the Bangladesh National Nutrition Council, Ministry of Industries, Ministry of Labor and Employment, along with other Sun networks. And one of our major priority area was to strengthen the workforce nutrition program, as Valerie was saying that the labor force are an important part who are almost sometimes gets left behind, and what we work with them to provide them the capacity to understand about nutrition so that they can choose nutritious food and get access to affordable and healthy diet. And what we hope through this N4G summit is to provide an opportunity so that there is amplification of support in scaling up some of the good practices of the factories that has implemented workforce nutrition program, and integrate nutrition as part of the compliance in factories, and have with a particular focus on gender. As part of the UN Food System Summit, taking it as a springboard, SBN is planning to facilitate dialogue between public and private sector, particularly in the emerging nutrition issues in Bangladesh, obesity. And we want to work with all our sun networks and galvanize support to strengthen regulations around eliminating trans fat and limiting salt and sugar. SBN is also planning to work with with Ministry of Agriculture and along with other key some stakeholders to facilitate dialogue on nutrition smart agriculture with links to improvement in income and resilience of the smallholder farmers. The N4G summit can catalyze the policy priority of the government towards sustainable and regenerative agriculture and gears towards a market structure that enables fair share of income of the farmers, and a food system that is sensitive to the environment and to our human health. Ladies and gentlemen, private sector is a major actor operating across the food systems, and if we can help build their capacity, help have regulations that enables them to take actions that are positive towards the food systems, we can, and together we can make our food systems more resilient and transformative. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much for these remarks. We have now Ms. Farzana. Please.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, and distinguished panelists and guests. Greetings from Sri Lanka. I have to agree a lot with what my colleague Ridwan said. The private sector in Sri Lanka is the engine of growth, and it is the sector where most people access most products and services to meet their needs. So the SPN in Sri Lanka was launched about exactly 2 years ago, in the March of 2019. And we sort of did it a bit differently, where we engaged more the larger organizations, the larger conglomerates, as the first level, the national SPN, and we have about 32 members now. And we've been driving 3 main programs. One is workforce nutrition, where we've supported most of the larger garment factories in supporting them in their employee nutrition, as well as what they serve in their canteen, their food, their diets, and their lifestyle. So an overall workforce nutrition program. We've also developed a lot of communication material because we realized that they had no way of knowing that Sri Lanka even had a malnutrition problem. You realize when we work on this in this domain every day, we take things for granted and we think everyone knows these issues. But when we approached the private sector, we found that they had no idea that we had a very high level of wasting and stunting among under 5 children, and high anemia among women of reproductive age, and also obesity. So so these made them very conscious, and therefore they wanted their workforce to be healthy, and also they wanted us to communicate to them. So we supported in that. And the other area is for members in the food sector, because the larger national network is not made up of only food sector. We have banks, insurance companies, hotels, retail outlets, retail chains, and so on. So those in the food sector seek our technical support in making their food more nutritious, even including fortification. So Sri Lanka achieved rice fortification, and we've been supporting some of our members with some of the technical support with my colleagues on developing fortified products. So this year we've embarked on much more interesting areas. So it fit logically for the Sri Lankan scenario, where if we had started off with SMEs, it would have been a bit hard to sustain the network because the SMEs in Sri Lanka need a lot of support. And especially with COVID, they would need a lot more. So as we speak, I'm planning the first SME workshop, which is tomorrow, which is a full day where we are teaching them financial literacy and the importance of nutrition and the importance of food safety from preparation to packaging to storage. And after this workshop, we will also engage with them to see if they want to become members. And our hope is at the end of the year to have 500 SMEs only in the food sector. In the case of SMEs, we will only approach food-related SMEs, though the national network has a larger forum, and support the food-related SMEs and have a consortium of 500. And we will definitely select a few SMEs to support them in developing commitments for the N4G summit. And this is one of the plans. So for the SMEs, we are also engaging with the Federation of Chamber of Industry and Commerce, which has the largest reach around the country, which is linked to all the local federation and chambers. So it makes the sort of the reach and the working more easier to reach to these SMEs in the rural areas. So with this, we also hope to connect these SMEs to the larger national food sector conglomerates who are members, to see if there is a backward integration they can do to support these SMEs in the sense of, you know, offering a market for their products if they meet their standards so that they can purchase. So a route to market, finding them new markets is one of the key areas when it comes to SME support, and also technical knowledge in many areas that they are struggling on. So also supporting nutrition sensitive interventions overall will be one of the mandates. So this is the overall plan for Sri Lanka. We were very strongly supported by a Sun focal point at the presidential office. However, at the moment, we are awaiting a Sun focal point after our government changed, and this is something of concern which we are working on at the moment. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much also for emphasizing the importance of SMEs and the need of capacity and support. For questions, unfortunately, we don't have time for direct questions, but I would like to invite all participants to post their questions in the chat so that we can follow up afterwards. And please, if you have specific question, also mention the name of the panelist. Thank you so much. So before we conclude this roundtable, I would like to welcome Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, Assistant Director General, Universal Health Coverage, Healthier Population, WHO, for some closing remarks. Dr. Yamamoto, please, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. And it is a great pleasure with all of you today. And the roundtable discussion has been rich, very rich and productive, I think. As our dear friend Helder said, that we have a huge opportunity to make 2021 a year of stronger commitment and action for better nutrition for all. But we also have a responsibility. We need to make sure that we achieve country impact and improve the lives of millions of people. That is what the SDGs are about. Dr. Renata articulated clearly that nutrition is everybody's business. All countries are affected by different forms of malnutrition, and so all countries have a role to play. The same goes to all organizations and partners. Only together we can succeed, and only by joining forces within our community and with other sectors. A whole of society, multi-sectorial approaches are required. We heard from the civil society, countries, and the private sector at that time, at that issues. This is important because malnutrition is an issue of equity and social justice. Currently, for example, COVID-19 is exposing that the inequity is at the heart of malnutrition and the vulnerability of food systems already dealing with the impact of climate change and rapid urbanization. We are confirming the imperative needs to resilient health system, UHC, with strong primary health care to address nutrition. The challenge is huge, But I said before, we have opportunity this year to advance nutrition at the global and national agendas, the Food System Summit and the COP26, and the meeting of small island developing states where we can hear more voices from seas. The accumulation of all these efforts will crystallize in the Nutrition for Growth Summit in December 2021. Thank you, Japan, for hosting this summit. With this approach, as chair of UN Nutrition for the next 2 years, we will work to multiply the strengths of UN system, articulate global and national advocacy, and advance country impact. I urge all UN agencies, national entities, and partners to work together and support countries to improve nutrition and achieve the sustainable developing goals. I thank you. ありがとうございます。You should remember this word to join the Nutrition for Growth in December. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yamamoto, for those words. As it was highlighted at the beginning of this meeting, 2021 presents us with a key moment for positive change. We all have a role to play in strengthening efforts to end malnutrition, and this roundtable has really demonstrated the importance of us all coming together. We thank very much all the participants for their active participation today. And yes, thank you so much, and wishing you a nice continuation of the evening or day. Thank you.